we'll make sure to get the job done in the end. Now, we are here, and I'd also point out, and maybe the Lieutenant Governor will say a little bit more about it, we had this illegal, some guy comes from India illegally. He ends up in California, of course, and gets a commercial driver's license. Now, first of all, he wasn't eligible for a commercial driver's license. Second of all, he doesn't speak or understand English. How are you going to operate some big rig when you don't understand the road signs? And so this guy got a commercial driver's license in Washington State and in California. Well, he's driving stuff in Florida and ends up trying to do a U-turn in the middle of the highway where they have the gaps for the highway patrol, official use only. And, of course, you can't just do that on a dime. And there's a car coming, and the car runs into the big rig, and 3 people are killed because this guy doesn't video you saw. And it's just like this guy had it didn't even faze him that this had happened. First of all, if I got into a wreck, and didn't hit anybody, that would be something that I'd be concerned about. Like, okay, did I try to do a U-turn or whatever? And then if there's any type of collision, aren't most people's first reaction to just be like, oh man, I hope everyone's all right, and to try? This guy didn't care. And so we worked with the federal government. They were able to get him. The U.S. Marshals were able to, once that evidence came in, were able to detain him. We sent the Lieutenant Governor out to personally extradite him back to Florida yesterday. And so he is in Florida, and he is facing justice in Florida for those 3 deaths. But that's not enough. Yes, we'll hold him accountable, and he's going to potentially spend decades in prison, but why would a company, and this is a California company, why would they put someone behind the wheel of one of those things when this guy can't even communicate and doesn't understand English? And so the Trump administration, I think commendably, has already revoked the company's license to operate, and I think that's absolutely appropriate. We're going to be looking at what our remedies are, or maybe from the victims' families' remedies against a company that didn't seem to care about public safety. But then you also have the issue of California. We've talked about these, we've seen this on display. Certainly since I've been governor, you see what has happened to Chicago. It's collapsed. What's happened to some of these places in California? You got homeless everywhere. You got obviously high taxes. You got people leaving. New York City, as bad as that got under de Blasio, I'd say, buckle your seatbelt if this new guy gets in. It's going to be a total disaster, and it's a predictable outcome of leftist policies being put in place. And we contrast that. We criticize it. We say, hey, people are leaving your state and everything. But it's not just kind of a philosophical debate. Yeah, Florida, people want to come here. We have low tax. We're doing all this stuff, low crime. The reality is those sanctuary policies of California are spilling over, and they are impacting people around the country. And this is a great example of that happening. So ultimately, we can do all the right things in Florida, and we'll continue to do it. But unless these sanctuary jurisdictions like California are reined in, you are going to continue to expose Americans in other states to the problems that flow from not caring about borders or not caring about the rule of law. So I just wonder, like in Congress, we've got a Republican Congress. All these guys that run when they ask you for their vote, I'm going to stop the border, I'm going to be tough on them. Not one runs openly on being weak on immigration, right? Because they know they would lose if they did that. And so, but yet, they haven't defunded sanctuary states like California. They haven't defunded sanctuary cities. They could overhaul this whole bureaucracy that makes it harder to remove illegal aliens from this country, and they haven't done it. So I think ultimately they're going to have to step up to the plate. What happened in Florida is the predictable consequence of these sanctuary policies. But we as Floridians, we can't reach out and change California's policies. Like, that's beyond our capacity as a state government. I have people, saying, oh, we wish California was doing, what you're doing. I was like, well, you got to elect different people. Ultimately, that's what you got to do, and they haven't been willing to do that. So I think it's going to continue. But there is ways to hold these rogue states accountable. And Congress has the power of the purse. Congress has the ability to regulate appropriately, and certainly can help streamline the immigration operations that are being undertaken both in Florida and with the Trump administration. So I thank Lieutenant Governor Collins for going out there, bringing him back. I know there's going to be really swift justice that's going to be administered, but this did not need to happen. This was totally avoidable, and it is the result of bad policies. Now, which brings us here today. We have recognized this issue as being something that's very important.